Now, in 3 hours, you may not be able to watch KTN as digital TV migration is set to take place at exactly 11:59 tonight. The switch off will lock out about 90% of Nairobi viewers who until now have not purchased the required universal free-to-air set-top boxes. And as KTN's Betty Kialo reports, many Kenyans say they cannot afford the said set-top boxes.
Months have turned to days and days to hours, and when the clock strikes midnight tonight, you may not be able to catch your favorite programs and news bulletins following the deadline set by the government to have the analog transmission signal switched off. There has been a push and pull between government and 3 media houses that own KTN, NTV and Citizen, who had filed a petition to have, among other things, the switch off delayed until a large percentage of Nairobians acquire the needed set-top box. However, their efforts proved futile, with the High Court dismissing the case on Monday and giving a go-ahead to the digital switch. But as that push and pull goes on, residents of Nairobi and its environs who will be switched off tonight lament that it's not just a digital switch, but a switch that will see them dig deeper into their empty pockets.
Kumwambia huyo mtu anaenda anunue hiyo kitu na ile kitu ananunua bei bado iko kari. Hiyo pia inaleta baraka.
Lazima nishughulikie familia kwanza ndio nihame. Jumia naona kama kuna haja tuhame saa hii. Juu itakuwa expensive kwa familia.
I have about my relatives, I have about 100 of them. They have said we forget about the whole thing. We forget about the TVs. Then we can listen to the radio.
While speaking to the residents, it was also evident that many of them were still in the dark on what is expected of them.
I mean, how can I go to the shop? I buy a TV like the one I bought, 130,000. And then at the end of the month, I am supposed to pay for whatever these kind of dinky toys.
There are 3 ways to access the digital signal. One may buy the free-to-air set-top box, whose price ranges between 3,000 and 8,000 shillings. Viewers may also choose to buy the pay TV set-top boxes, whose price ranges from 3,000 to 5,000. However, this requires a monthly subscription fee for one to access the channels. One may also purchase the integrated television sets that have an inbuilt digital receiver. These sets range from 60,000 to 100,000 shillings. These figures are according to the Communications Commission of Kenya. We made our way to Limuru, where the switch off for KTN analog transmitters will be done, and engineer Donald Kuchona explained what will happen come midnight.
If you look at this transmitter, you see here, this is what we call as the main switch of the transmitter. So what an engineer will do is just very simple. He will just come here and hold this main switch and push it down.
Even with the switch, Media Owners Association, through their lawyer Paul Mwite, will appear before a 3-judge bench tomorrow at the Court of Appeal, where they will request for a halt in the migration until the appeal is heard and determined. However, till that decision is made, viewers in Nairobi, Machakos, Kiambu, Embu, Kajiado, Thika, Kerugoya, Kitengela, Ngong, Ongata Rongai, Isinya, Athi River, Kigumo, Githunguri and Makuyu without set-top boxes will stop receiving broadcast signals through the analog transmission. Now, this transmission room here in Limuru has been home to the KTN analog signal. But come midnight tonight, that of course will change as that analog signal is switched off. Now, things will change and shift to this other building right across, owned by the Pan-African Network Group, one of the companies that has been given the contract to supply this digital signals. Now, KTN and other stations here in the country will now have to rent those signals. Betty Kialo, KTN.
At midnight tonight, Nairobi will know just how prepared it is for the digital TV switch. Meanwhile, owners of the 3 leading stations, KTN, NTV and Citizen TV, now say failure to switch off their signals on Monday would have constituted an offense attracting heavy fines and possible imprisonment. Through lawyer Paul Mwite, they are accusing the state of attempting to subvert the constitution by threatening to revoke their licenses. Adelaide Changole has been following this story.
On December 23rd at 8:30 p.m., this message appeared on the screen of KTN, Citizen TV and NTV after the three media houses switched off their signals following a ruling by High Court Judge David Majanja dismissing a media petition to delay the implementation of the digital migration. And today, media owners have come out to defend themselves against claims by the Communications Commission of Kenya that they misled the Kenyan public about the switch-off. Through their lawyer, Paul Muite, the three media houses argue that the dismissal of their case meant that the injunction orders halting the migration had lapsed. Therefore, continuing off analog broadcasting would have constituted an offense attracting heavy fines and or possible imprisonment. In a letter to the Director General of CCK, the media owners said they took great exception to the threats and intimidation from the Cabinet Secretary, which they say runs counter to Article 34 of the Constitution of Kenya, which protects media freedom of broadcasting. In their view, broadcasting is a constitutional right intended to be enjoyed by the people of Kenya and by those choosing to invest in broadcasting. It is not a privilege to be granted and withdrawn by the government at its whims. But even more saliently, the media owners rejected the argument that they were opposed to the migration, saying their concerns revolved around the lack of affordable universal set-top boxes, which they say would lock out more than 90% of TV viewers once the migration was effected and impact heavily on advertising revenue. They also urged the CCK to license the three media houses to carry their respective content and allocate them the necessary digital frequencies to air this content, arguing that it is unconstitutional to force media houses to migrate and at the same time deny them the licenses and frequencies they need, leaving them at the mercy of competitors. The media owners insist they want nothing more than respect of media freedom as enshrined in the Constitution and the implementation of the government's own policy to protect the property and investments of the citizens. In their opinion, denying local media licenses and frequencies and giving the same to Chinese investors negates this policy and is a disincentive to investments. The digital migration begins today at midnight and will affect Nairobi, Kiambu, Ngong, Ongata Rongai, Kitengela, Isinya, Kajiado, Athi River, Machakos, Thika, Makuyu, Kigumo, Kerugoya, Kithunguri, and Embu. The media owners have said they will file an appeal on the ruling on the 27th of December. Adelaide Changole, KTN.
Let's now switch our attention to the crisis in South Sudan and